If you're moving to Fort Worth, these are 5 cities that you need to consider moving to. My name is Devin Cook, a luxury realtor here in DFW, and I'm going to show you 5 of the best cities that you should consider moving to. Now, the 5 cities that I'm talking about are Flower Mound, Colleyville, North Lake, Keller, and Arlington. Now, if you're not very familiar with Fort Worth and maybe you're just out of state looking to move here, let me show you on the map where all of these cities are so you can kind of more or less get your bearings. So if you look directly at the map, you're going to see kind of right in the middle, a bit more south, kind of east of Fort Worth is Arlington. Wow, that was a very big zoom. Arlington is a really great area because it's very central to Fort Worth and Dallas. If you do need to maybe travel between both cities, Arlington can be a really great location. And then traveling a bit higher north, we have both Colleyville, which is just south of South Lake, and then you also have Keller, which is a bit closer to the 377 35 West highways. And then going a bit more north, you're gonna have over here just north of Grapevine Lake, Flower Mound, which is a very nice area to live in. And then going a bit farther west, you have North Lake just off of 35 West. And the main freeways that you're gonna be taking if you're traveling in and around the Fort Worth areas a lot, traveling north and south, you're gonna have 35 West. Do be aware that there's often a lot of construction happening on 35 West, especially here in this corridor where you have 35 West intersecting with 170. They're expanding and growing that area, so there's just a lot of construction, which means a lot of traffic. You also have Highway 377 running north and south, runs through Roanoke all the way up here to Denton. And then running east and west, you have 114. You have 287 that kind of splits diagonally down to 35. And then a bit farther south as you get into Fort Worth, you're gonna have Highway 183, you're gonna have 820, and then you're also gonna have Highway 121, which extends up diagonally over to the DFW airport and even as far as McKinney and Anna area. Now, a big consideration for families moving to Fort Worth are what are the schools like in this area. So you can come over here to niche.com and you can see for yourself what the schools are rated in this area. So looking at the school districts over here in the Fort Worth area, you're gonna see that Keller has an A rating. You're gonna see that Grapevine Colleyville has an A+ rating. You're gonna see as well that Northwest and Argyle, which are gonna take in portions of North Lake, both get an A and an A+ rating also. So I would recommend you come check out this website and look at the different schools specifically and the school districts that you're potentially looking to move in. Now, there's a couple things that are pretty good about each of these different areas. Arlington, for example, is very close to Six Flags over Texas, so if you like amusement parks, Arlington could be a great location for you. You also have the Texas Rangers Stadium, Cowboy Stadium, really the entire sports district is right there in Arlington, so it's a really convenient place to be. And if you're at all interested in horse races or flea markets, Arlington is very close to Grand Prairie, which has both of those. Now for Colleyville and Keller, both are pretty centrally located in between the 377, 141, and 121, 183 highways. So pretty good access to pretty much everything over in Fort Worth. Colleyville is gonna be a bit of a higher price point than Keller, and both have some really great parks and great recreational activities that are just nearby. However, if you do like more of a lakeside feel, you can come over here to Flower Mound because you're gonna be basically living right on the lake depending on how close you're going to be, because you also have this whole area as well that is part of Flower Mound. So you can choose, do you want to be in the suburbs of Flower Mound or do you actually want to come live on the lake here in Flower Mound? Just be aware that the price points are going to be very different. And in Flower Mound, you have the lakeside shopping area and development, which is very nice. They're continually building more shopping and more dining over there as well. And then the North Lake area, kind of getting you closer to Argyle, just off of 35, is going to give you a bit more of a country vibe. There's not as much built out here in North Lake. If you do like the idea of having maybe a bit more space, a bit more breathing room, and getting a lower price point, North Lake is a great option. Now, some of the best neighborhoods that you should be looking at in each of these different cities. In North Lake, I would recommend taking a look at Pecan Square. It's one of their biggest and most well-developed communities, and a lot of families are moving there. Over in Arlington, you can look at Veridian. There are thousands of homes in Veridian at a bunch of different price points, and that's one of the most popular neighborhoods to live in. In Flower Mound, if you do want some of those lakeside living areas and you want to be in a gated community, you can look at Point Noble, you can look at the Landing, and you can also look at Chateau de Lac. All three are very nice, very prestigious neighborhoods, but you're gonna need to be in that $1.5 to $2 million range and up in order to get into most of these homes and neighborhoods. Over in Colleyville, you can look at the Montclair Park neighborhood. It's a bit of a smaller one with only about 75 homes or so, and the price point is right around that $1 million range. And if you do like Keller and you're moving over there, I would consider looking at Highland Oaks and Park Glen if you're kind of choosing some of the nicer neighborhoods. Now, what are the different price points for these cities on average? Keep in mind, depending on if you go with with some of the more luxury markets like you can do with Flower Mound over on the lake, these numbers are going to be very different. These are just the averages. But you can see on average, Colleyville is more expensive at about $780,000 average sales price. And then following very closely behind is North Lake at $610 and Keller at $600, and then Flower Mound at $545. Do keep in mind, I can't stress this enough, the closer you get to the lake, the higher those prices go. It's very common to see $5 million plus homes over in Flower Mound right on the lake. And if you want to be more budget conscious, then Arlington is going to bring up the rear at $335,000. That's a much more affordable sales price for most people. If you have any questions about these neighborhoods, communities, or cities, or any other general questions, leave them down below or send me an email.